What is up, guys? Logan here, and I am back with another episode of Prodigy. Now it is Christmas break. My first semester at Grand Canyon University is over, and I am back home for the break. I'm happy to be done, but ready for the next semester to start. So anyways, as I was there, I kind of focused on what were some pros and cons on some things there so that I can let you guys know my thoughts on the school, and I kind of have some written down and I'm going to expand on some of them. So I'll start with the pros and then I'll go with the cons. So one pro to being at Grand Canyon University, this one is for the guys out there. The girl to guy ratio is crazy different. Like, it's 7 girls to 1. So if you're a guy like trying to find a girl out there in college, then this is the place for you, because it's like the girl to guy ratio is crazy. I found me a girlfriend, you probably can find one too. So anyways, moving on to the next one. If you love to swim or like tan by the poolside or whatever, you can pretty much do this year round at Grand Canyon University, because in Phoenix, in the desert, it's always pretty much hot. I mean, it's not hot in like November, December. It can get chilly, it can get cold, but some days in November, December, it's actually not cold to where it's warm enough for you to be able to sit by the poolside or even swim. And they have jacuzzis too if you're into that stuff. Next pro is the weather is beautiful, usually in the fall and winter, because it's never really too cold at all and it's never hot at all. It's just kind of a perfect in-between type of weather. Now in the summer it's pretty hot, but I'm talking about fall, winter, it's just beautiful. Also, they get like amazing, like crazy sunsets. Like, you could get some really cool pictures here because the sunsets are beautiful there. Next pro I would like to talk about is the community there. It is just like, you really do not feel alone at this school. They make sure that everyone is involved, everyone has a friend to talk to, and everyone has someone to hang out with and stuff to do. And they also have stuff like clubs. They have an immense amount of clubs. They do something like at the beginning of the semester where in the arena they display out basically like all the clubs, and you basically just get to go and like choose what your niche is, what you like to do, stuff like that. Basically, if you have like any type of hobby, there is most likely a club for it, and if there isn't, then I think you can like make your own to where you can have the club that you want. And they also have like club sports, because we don't have, like, we have D1 sports, but we don't have every sport. So the club sports give a wide variety of different kinds of sports, from flag football to ultimate frisbee to volleyball, stuff like that. And also I'm going to talk about the events. They just do so many events. Like, they do this one thing called Midnight Madness, where it's basically like a giant rally inside the arena at midnight, and it's just insane. People line up like days before for it, and like when they open up, everyone like rushes in. It's just like a giant party. They do like lip sync battles. They did a bunch of Christmas events like before the Christmas break started, and there's so many to even count right now what they did, and it's just a lot of fun. There's always something to do pretty much every week. They'll display out on social media and stuff like that, everything you could do. I don't think I've gone a single week at that school where there wasn't something to do. Next up, the campus is just absolutely gorgeous. I think they're ranked number 16th in the country for best campus, and I definitely agree with that. I think it's an amazing campus, and it just really looks cool. You can get some great pictures there, and just it's a lot of fun. The next pro is that there is a good selection of food, at least to me. There's some things that I wish they would have, like They have a place called Qdoba that's kind of like Chipotle, but I would rather have Chipotle than that. And they are pretty slow on construction for food places. Like, we were supposed to have a Taco Bell a long time ago, but they're still constructing on that. Also, a Pita Jungle was supposed to open December 1st, and it still hasn't opened, so we're still waiting on places like that. Next up is the scholarship opportunities. They just give so many chances for you to get scholarship opportunities. And also, if you went to a Christian high school, I think it's just Christian high schools, where you get this scholarship where if you do like 40 hours of some sort of community service, you can get $5,000 of scholarship a year. And that's what I have because I went to Christian high school. And also just from my GPA, I got a ton of scholarships. I think actually, like, I calculated out like 70% of my tuition is being paid for through scholarships. I'm gonna finish college with zero debt. The next pro is the city around Grand Canyon University. Phoenix is just an amazing city with so many things to do. There's a lot of professional sports. They have a cool downtown. The city does a lot of events and stuff like that. You can go out with your friends and do. It's just a lot of fun. And it's basically the Los Angeles of Arizona. That's what I think. And there's also Scottsdale, which is a little north of us, and that's like the really like fancy like part of Arizona, and it's really nice and a lot of fun. There's shopping malls and much more things to do. Other thing I was going to talk about is their basketball games. Their D1 basketball games are an absolute blast. We're ranked top in the country for best student sections at basketball games. It is just a giant party. All the students get involved, and they have all sorts of dances and traditions they do every game. There have been some big schools we played that have come to us, and they've said that it's like one of the hardest places to play at because of how crazy our student section gets. And the last pro I'm going to talk about is that we get out of school oddly in April, which we start school usually around the same time that other schools start, which is like, I think this year is January 7th, and we get out in April. And a lot of schools get out in like May or June. So we get out like a lot sooner. I don't know how they do this, but if you want a shorter semester, then there you go. It's about 3.5 months or something like that. So those are all the pros I have written down. I'm pretty sure there's more I haven't thought of to write down, but I'm gonna move on to the cons now. The first con that I noticed when I was transferring there was that transfer students are forced to live in the dorms. And if you're living on campus. If you're living off campus, you can live wherever, but on campus, if you're a transfer student, you have to live in the dorms. And the reason for this is because their apartments are like so like impacted that they want like the people that are already there to have chances. But honestly, I feel like it's kind of dumb because that leaves like some sophomores who weren't transfer students are allowed to stay in the apartments, whereas I'm a junior and I'm not allowed to live in the apartments. I think that's kind of unfair, but it's whatever. I've already got a half a semester down, one more to go, and then I'll be in the apartments next school year. Next con I'm going to talk about is the dorm policies. If you are fine following rules, then you should be fine with this, but the policies are kind of strange for me. I just feel like we're a little bit old for some of these rules. One of them is like, if you have someone of the opposite gender in your room, they have to be in the living room area, and the door to your dorm has to be open all the way, and which is doesn't really bug me, but at the same time it sometimes does, because the hall can get kind of loud, and when you're like in the living room like trying to watch a movie or something, like it can get pretty distracting when the hall is just making noise all the time and stuff like that. You have to, there's another policy, like you can't change the air conditioning in your room at all, or each resident gets fined $100. Let's see, what else is there? There's a curfew, so anyone of the opposite gender has to be out of your room on weekdays by 11 p.m. and on weekends by midnight. And in the mornings, you can't be in there until 12 noon every day. So if you're thinking of living in the dorms at GCU, keep these things in mind. The next con I'm going to talk about is the system we use called LOUDCLOUD, where we get all of our assignments and turn all of our assignments in, and where we can communicate and stuff like that. It's just a very, very confusing software to figure out in the beginning. I have it figured out now and it's fine, but at the beginning, make sure that you know what you're doing on that software, because I kind of got screwed over on a couple assignments where I thought I submitted some things, but apparently you have to like put in the file and then click submit, and I was just putting in the file. I wasn't clicking submit because I didn't know that was a thing, so I lost a lot of points, which ended up hurting me in the end. Next con is the mail center at our school. At the beginning of the semester, it's an absolute nightmare. I don't know why it was this bad, but the line would go out of the building and around the corner, and if you wanted a package that you got, you'd have to wait like 3 hours for your package most of the time. But it's not like that anymore. It's faster now, but it's still kind of bad because sometimes you'll get a package that day, but they'll take forever to let you know that it's there. Sometimes like 1, 2, 3, 4 days later. And if you need a package like right away, like sometimes you won't get it right away because they won't let you know. Next thing we're going to talk about is our Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi is pretty awful. When it's connected, it's good and fast, but it disconnects all the time, so that's pretty annoying. Next con is that there's no football team. If you want to go with a football team, we don't have one. The next con I'm going to talk about is probably the worst one on this list, and that is the location of the parking garages. I was once in a parking garage that was about a half a mile from my dorm. So if I wanted to like simply just like go and get something from my car, that's half a mile, that's a mile walk. It's so far from my dorm. I was able to switch parking garages to a little bit closer one, but it's still really far, and luckily I have my skateboard to get there faster, but like if you're walking, like it's taking a long time to get to your parking garage. The next con is that this is a weird one. All my teachers make everything due on Sundays. So like sometimes I'll go like a week, and sorry if you hear noise, my family is making a bunch of noise right now, but everything is due on Sundays. So if you sometimes I'll have like a week where I have like nothing due, and then like the next week I'll have like 5 papers due on Sunday. So make sure you do not procrastinate, because you will screw yourself. Next con is the heat in the summer. That's it. It is very hot in the summer, but it's nothing really different from where I live here, so I kind of got used to it. And the final con is that if you really like to work out at the gym at the school, it is a good gym, but also the club sports sometimes work out in there, and they will close down like half of the gym for that team, and you'll just be left like without a lot of equipment to use because the club sports are taking up almost the entire gym. And that is all I have for you guys today. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas, and I will see you next time on Prodigy.